Welcome to the Luke Woolems Show. Find out all about Northeast DuBois G baseball straight from the coach's mouth. This week's show is sponsored by Milligan Communications. The Luke Woolems Show is brought to you by the Southwestern Indiana Sports Network, powered by Milligan Brosmer Communications. Wanting to scan those old videos, films, or audio to DVD? We'll look no further than Milligan Communications. We can also scan your old pictures, slides, and negatives to picture quality as well. With thousands of happy customers, let Milligan Communications help put your treasured memories on a digital media. Call Milligan Communications today at 812-630-2449. Milligan Communications, capturing your yesterdays.
This summer, take a step onto the same field Tom Hanks stood on in the movie A League of Their Own and root for the home team in Huntingburg, Indiana. The DuBois County Bombers, members of the Ohio Valley Wooden Bat League, plays baseball in retro-styled uniforms as the Peaches keeps things running in the stadium, entertaining fans with family-friendly activities. Make plans today to catch a game. Go to dcbombers.com for more information.
At MAD, we believe in zero. Zero fathers who aren't there for bedtime. Zero mothers who miss the first day of school. Zero children who never come home. We believe in zero victims of drunk driving. With MAD, your support adds up to zero. Because we believe in a hug on the first day of school. We believe in another bedtime story. We believe in no more victims. We believe in zero.
This is your IHSAA. This is your state. This is your high school. This is your athletic association.
Fans, I'm IHSA Commissioner Paul Knighty, and we're here to make sure that all of this remains yours.
This is your state. This is your community. This is your IHSAA.
Hey everyone, Joey Chestnut here, world champion competitive eater. I follow Southwest Indiana Sports Network, and if you're hungry for sports, you should follow them too.
Follow the Southwest Indiana Sports Network at swisportsnetwork.com or search Roku for our channel at SW Indiana Sports Network.
And welcome to the season opener for the Luke Woolems Show. Coach, you know, always excited. The new season is always very exciting, and I'm sure you guys you've got all your goals set. And you know, before we get talking about this season, why don't you talk about some of the players you lost from last year?
Okay. Well, moving on from last year's team, center fielder Bryce Merkel, kind of the heart and soul of that group, was just a solid outfielder for us. He's gone on to do I'm sure great things at Western Kentucky in the academic world, and he's going to be very successful. Colby Piper is at Brescia College. He's playing a little bit of baseball down there. Aiden Tavis went to Oakland City University, and he's actually playing tennis. Beyond that, Eli Freiberger played second base for us. He has moved on. Landon Goodsell played a little bit of first base, and DH for us is one of the few guys that I know that hit a home run in his last at bat as a Jeep. That's pretty cool little trivia fact there. And then Kendrick Tombleson, and Kendrick is still here. He's working locally, and then he's also helping with our junior high baseball program. So that rounds out that class, and obviously, you know, those 6 seniors are going to be tough to replace. But we're trying to figure out a way to do that. We've got younger guys, and that's, you know, everybody goes through that every year.
And this season is full of optimism. And who are some of your returning players you have this year?
Well, 3 seniors, Aiden Dodd, Ty Cobb, and Gage Shepers are all back for us. Aiden and Ty will split time at shortstop. Aiden is also the anchor of our outfield. When Aiden's on the infield, then Gage Shepers will play center field. And all 3, you know, we look for some offensive production out of, and all 3 pitch as well. Grant Maringer and Clay Foreman are juniors that will see time on the mound in likely starting roles. Dylan Embry is going to play some outfield for us at the varsity level. He's also a junior. And Trey Wiseman is our starting second baseman as a junior. He transferred over from Jasper a few years ago, and he's been a welcome addition to this group. Great kid, just a real smooth athlete, runs cross country. And then a new addition in that junior class is Rockney Leakin. He hasn't played high school baseball before. He played a lot of ball as junior high and stuff. But he's been a welcome addition. He can just about run down anything in the outfield, and he's got great hands at the plate. So he's kind of helps, answer some questions for us in the outfield. And then rounding out the starting nine is Aiden Sheets, a sophomore catcher, multi-sport athlete, good basketball player. I know he was the leading rebounder on the JV team. And that's kind of, you want the leading rebounder behind the plate. Those two things just kind of go together for you. But he's just a bulldog for us, and he's going to do a good job catching our pitching staff.
And we're back on the Luke Woolems Show right through messages from our sponsors. You're listening to Southwest Indiana Sports Network, powered by Miller Brusser Communications.
You dream it, we create it at Street Dreams. Custom paint, fabrication, stereos, wheels, tires, and more. We're also your authorized Sinister Sound dealer. Street Dreams, 317-624-1000, where you expect quality and...
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Wanting to scan those old videos, films, or audio to DVD? We'll look no further than Milligan Communications. We can also scan your old pictures, slides, and negatives to picture quality as well. With thousands of happy customers, let Milligan Communications help put your treasured memories on a digital media. Call Milligan Communications today at 812-630-2449. Milligan Communications, capturing your yesterdays.
Welcome back to the Luke Woolems Show. Coach, last week you opened the season, you played Heritage Hills, you came out a 4-3 winner. Why don't you recap that game for us?
Okay, well, Ty Cobb started on the mound for us. Mason Becker started for Heritage Hills, and both teams just kind of felt each other out early with no score through the first inning, and then actually through two innings, and then in the third inning, Heritage Hills was able to get a couple hits and had a single, a sacrifice bunt, a single, and they scored their first run. And then Mason Becker doubled in that inning to drive in the Bell kid, and so they're up 2-0 in the top of the third. We come back in the bottom of the third, and Grant Maringer singles on a ground ball to score Ty Cobb. It's 2-1. We hold them in the fourth, and in the bottom of the fourth, we hit another 2 runs. Dylan Embry drove in Gage Shepers, and Ty Cobb drove in Dylan Embry, and so we get 2 runs that way, and so we're up 3-2. Hold them in the top of the fifth. In the bottom of the fifth, we get another run when we've got bases loaded. They've got a freshman on the mound in the Peyton Gray. So it's his first game pitching, and he gives up a single to Aiden Dodd, and then he hits Grant Maringer, and then Clay Foreman gets a single, so bases are loaded, and then he hits Gage Shepers, and so that drives in a run that way, so now it's 4-2. We go to the top of the sixth. They get another run on a sacrifice fly that again scores Becker, but Ty is able to get out of that inning, with bases loaded. So that was kind of a big moment in the game. In fact, we called time, went out and talked to Ty, and just told him there were 2 outs, bases loaded. Hey, this is your last batter. And he was getting tired. I was, and you could see it in some of the pitches that he was throwing, but he had that look in his eye, like I can get one more, and so we left him in there. He got the out, and we go to the bottom of the 6th. We don't score in the bottom of the 6th, although we threatened, and then we go to the 7th and bring Clay Foreman in to close the game, and he ends up giving up leadoff single. They bunt leadoff single to Bronson Pund, who seemed to be on base all day long. I played ball with his dad in high school, Bo, and the young man is not. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, I'll say that. But he's got his dad's smile, and man, he's just a pain at the plate. He can find a way on base every time. But anyway, so he's on base. They sack him over, then get a walk, so it's first and second. Fly out, and both runners move up, so now we've got second and third. And that fly out, is just a simple F5 in the book, but Grant Merringer made a great catch on a high fly ball early in the season when the wind's blowing like it is. That's a tough play. He made the play for us, and that brought up Becker, who'd been a pain all day, and Clay was able to get him out, and the shortstop, Aiden Dodd, makes a wonderful play in the hole, backhands the ball, throws across the diamond. Ty Cobb playing first base makes a great play to corral it, and we get out of the ballgame with a win.
And I'll tell you what, opening weekend, you got to return home, to where you grew up, and, that's got to be special.
Yeah, it was a home game for us when Heritage Hills came up here, but anytime playing them, it's, you put an asterisk next to that game, because, it obviously means just a little more when you're playing your hometown team, but my primary focus is the Jeeps and our guys, and at the end of the day, that's the only thing I really care about.
And, I've asked Coach Hawkins, the Heritage Hills basketball coach, I'll ask you, in reverse, because I asked him, I said, what are you going to do without a Becker? And then I'll ask you, you won't have to play any Beckers anymore.
Yeah, that'll be an unusual thing. I don't know those boys that well. Of course, know their dad, but they've definitely been a fixture down there. And I did have their mom as an art teacher in high school, and she's a really sweet lady. But kind of know the family that way, and they certainly are good boys, good sports, and they represent Heritage Hills very well.
And and lastly, in this segment, I'll have to point out something that I'm sure you probably already know. I think Ty Cobb's parents were geniuses, naming him Ty Cobb. I wonder if they knew he was going to be a baseball player.
Well, I know his dad is looking down on him and is very proud.
Yeah, totally. And we'll be back on the Woolems show right after these messages from our sponsors. You're listening to the South Indiana Sports Network, powered by Milligan Boasberg Communications.
Want to know what I like best about playing basketball for my high school? I like it because it's a place where my friends get to see me play. I like it because I'm playing for someone besides myself. I'm playing for everybody in my school and every person in my community.
Indiana high school sports. They're more than just a game.
Come and see me play.
You dream it, we create it at Street Dreams. Custom paint, fabrication, stereos, wheels, tires, and more. We're also your authorized Sinister Sound dealer. Street Dreams, 317-624-1000, where you expect quality and...
At MAD, we believe in zero. Zero fathers who aren't there for bedtime. Zero mothers who miss the first day of school. Zero children who never come home. We believe in zero victims of drunk driving. With MAD, your support adds up to zero. Because we believe in a hug on the first day of school. We believe in another bedtime story. We believe in no more victims. We believe in zero.
And welcome back to the Woolems Show, Coach. This week you got Perry Central on tonight at home, and then you got Friday you got Jasper away, and Saturday you got Paoli away. Why don't you preview those games for us?
Okay, well, Perry Central's 1-1. They beat South Central last weekend, and then they got beat last night pretty handily by Evansville Harrison, which I think Harrison's got a pretty good ball team. Other than that, I really don't know a lot about Perry Central. They've got a new coach, and they're kind of the class of the PLAC, year in and year out in all sports. They're good, hardworking kids. So they'll be a tough opponent tonight and an good early season measuring stick. We're still trying to figure out what kind of team we've got, and we're not sure how good we are. Jasper Friday night, they played Shakamak last weekend to a 5-1 score, and obviously they beat them. They are always a good test. They kind of show you what you really need to work on. They're just obviously very solid, and they play great defense, and really they beat a lot of teams by making them make the first mistake and then piling on from that point. We are at Ruxer, so always a fun atmosphere, and it'll be a fun Friday night. Our JV will start that night at 4:30, and then the varsity will play at 7 after that. And then Saturday, Paoli, and Paoli beat North Knox last Saturday in the cold cold windy conditions up in Bicknell, and it must have been miserable. But they won 15-10. I know they've got a bunch of young kids. They got a bunch of freshmen, probably the most solid class they've had in a long time. So Paoli will be a tough out as well.
And I'm not trying to get ahead of the game here, but the following week you have four games. Yeah. And pitching wise, how do you especially early in the season, how do you work that with pitchers?
Well, I mean, I guess there's several different ways to look at it. And I've got a calendar in front of me with who's going to start on what night, and we try to follow that plan. But in high school baseball, the guy that starts on Tuesday might close the game on Saturday, and just use that as his bullpen day. We like our guys to throw every other day or so. So if we can get them in a bullpen, and obviously we've got to stay within the confines of the IHSA's pitching rules as far as pitch counts, but we do some of that stuff. And then also when you play a lot of games in a week, there may be an opportunity for one of your younger guys to get on the mound that maybe is more of a JV pitcher, but he gets his opportunities in a situation like that, and that's a real positive too. There's a lot of things to the game of baseball. The season itself is a war of attrition sometimes. And, you may lose a ball game, but you get a guy and you get some guys some opportunities in those situations or chances to be successful. And, you can have some positives in games like that regardless of the score. And that's just always kind of the way I've looked at things.
And, just to review things, what are the IHSA pitching rules?
Hang on just a second. I got it right here. So, if a kid pitches 35 or less pitches in a game, he does not have to have any rest. He can come back the next day and throw full. 36 to 60 is 1 day's rest. 61 pitches to 80 pitches is 2 days rest. 81 to 100 is 3 days rest. And anything over 100 is 4 days rest. They're only allowed to throw 120 pitches max. But all the way down to Little League, they play by a rule where if you can finish the at bat, and then your count goes back to whatever your number was before that at bat started. So if a guy is at 33 pitches, but he throws 4 more pitches to that batter, he gets to 37 pitches, but he reverts back to 35, and he's on 0 days rest. So we use that as kind of a guideline. I think, especially early here, those numbers are extreme for what our guys are doing. We're not going to have guys throwing over 101, 120. Ty threw 78 on his opening night. He was very efficient through 6 innings. That's probably a little more than we really wanted him to go, and I know he had a little more arm soreness than what we'd really like him to have, but he was, like I said, he got to 78 and he was tired and he wasn't going any further. Later in the season, he'll be able to go 100 pitches and probably be in good shape, but it just takes some time, especially with our basketball guys, for them to get those arms into shape where they can go a little bit longer.
And tell me one thing. Hopefully, we haven't got the pitch clock yet, right?
Not yet. Although I like it. I'm kind of like John Smoltz in the opinion on the pitch clock. If they can speed up the game a little bit, it isn't going to hurt anything. And it's a shame that it has to be that way. They are referring to this time period as being like baseball was in the 1970s. Well, I don't remember that. I was born in 1980. But if there was a time where the game was faster and guys were less worried about their egos and, there's kind of a look at me attitude that goes on at the plate with some of these batters and how many times they have to get out and fix their batting gloves or stand up there and pitchers are the same way. So if we can get to a point where games are going a little quicker and guys are less about themselves and more about the team, then I'm all for it.
Well, Coach, good luck this week.
Okay. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it.
You're listening to the Luke Woolems Show on the Southwest Indiana Sports Network, powered by Milligan Brooks Communications. We'll see you next week.
The Luke Woolems Show is brought to you by the Southwestern Indiana Sports Network, powered by Milligan Brosmer Communications.
Becoming a licensed sports official is a great way to make a positive difference in the community and support the over 160,000 Indiana student athletes that participate across 22 IHSAA sports. Sports officiating allows you to stay connected to the game, become a role model for our young student athletes, earn extra money, and support the patrons and communities of our IHSAA member schools. To learn more about becoming a licensed IHSAA official, log on to ihsaa.org/officials today.